So if you're trying to maintain a diet...
Excuse me, I'm trying to have like a post-show here.
Well, we're talking about Soylent now, so deal.
We are in post-show talking about Soylent. If you don't know what that is, you should go check it out. The bottled stuff is delicious.
Yeah, it tastes pretty good.
Yeah. So it's a food supplement.
Is that opposed to, does it come in a
It's not
powder?
a food supplement.
It's a replacement.
It's a food replacement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you said the liquid is good, but
Well, they have two versions of it. There's the 1.x version, which is a powder. You make a big bottle of it and you pour it. And there's a 2.x version of it where it actually comes pre-made and just a once open it, throw it away bottle.
Yeah, and I gotta say, like the powdered stuff was good. It was a pain in the ass to make, which is why I stopped drinking it. I can't drink the powdered stuff anymore since I started drinking the
completely gone off the powder.
Yeah, it's so good. Like after a week of being on this stuff, and like literally for 2 weeks, I was not eating food. I was just drinking this thing.
Well, I try and eat really healthy, like in the morning. Well, I work at a restaurant, so I decided that 1/3 of my diet should not be fries that died in the window anymore. And also that I need to save all my empty calories for beer because I was starting to put on weight. And that has actually, and I'm not joking, been the incentive for me to eat healthier. I'm like oatmeal in the morning, yogurt for lunch, 5 beers when I get home, and I'm good. And I'm not gaining weight. I'm actually losing weight.
Well, it's not probably the best balanced diet. Calorie-wise, it's probably all right.
Okay, you're right. I probably should drink 6 beers because that's an even number, better balance, right? That's how balance works.
But this is the best part about Soylent is that not only is it a healthy thing that you can just eat instead of food, you know exactly how many calories. And I've done the same thing. I'm like, I'm only going to have 3 of these today because I'm going to do the show tonight and I'm going to be drinking some beer. So, I mean, I honestly, my brain starts processing all these things.
Right. No, it's only a problem when it becomes a problem.
No, it's totally cool. Just because I'm not eating so that I can.
And not only is it the calories, I mean, it's like your zinc, your vitamins, everything all in one container.
And so
it's fucking cold in here, man.
It's not that cold.
I didn't realize that having to pee that bad was distracting me from how cold it was in here. But now I peed and I'm freezing.
You don't get the pee shivers? I get the pee shivers.
I haven't had that since like high school.
Like if I hold it for too long and I don't know like why that happens, but it does.
I don't know. Okay, that's beside the point.
It's post-show. There's nothing beside the point.
There's no point.
There's no point, so there's nothing beside it.
All right, so let's talk about, in honor of the Catholic bishops and their denouncement of pornography. Let's talk about Playboy.
Now they can read all the Playboy they want. There's no porn in it anymore.
Can we just look at Playboy instead?
You can. It's just
the older issues.
It's all words. There are no naked people in it.
Well, it's
at
not.
all anymore.
It's not going to be all words.
We already have enough of that, don't we?
It's not. They're going to have photographs in there.
They're still going to have photographs,
but not naked people.
But not naked. So they're still going to. They're going to. I don't exactly understand. It's still going to be beautiful people.
The idea behind it was, from the synopsis I read, the reason why they're switching away from doing full nude photos is because you can get that anywhere for free on the internet. Nobody needs a magazine to look at that. So why would you get the magazine? Because of the articles. And apparently there are people that really do read the articles and play. Apparently that's a metric that they've found that people like.
I think people buy Playboy maybe to see somebody that they've heard of before with their clothes off.
Well, and another thing they can do now.
And there's also an article about them.
And another thing they can do now is they can get celebrities in there to do Playboy, but they don't have to be nude. They can just be scantily clad, which they're already kind of doing already.
I'm sure they were interviewing dudes for forever and didn't make them take their clothes off.
No, for sure.
Yeah. So that argument seems fairly weak to me.
I've only bought one issue of Playboy in my life, and that was because when I was in college, I went to the University of Missouri. They apparently this is something they did every once in a while. They would do like the girls of the Big Ten or whatever. Blah, blah.
Yes, they would.
And like they came to our campus and they like got. And like there was this girl who was in my algebra class who was in, and like she was like autographing them and stuff. I didn't do that because I was like, that's really creepy. But I was like, I'm just gonna go. Oh, okay.
That's not creepy.
On my own time, privately, not in like I wasn't in front of her.
Not sitting behind her in algebra class.
Right, I was just sniffing her hair. I mean, it wasn't creepier. She didn't even know I was there.
But so
not in her dorm while she was in class.
Right. Okay. I'm gonna let it go. But I feel like this is a brilliant maneuver because So having the naked people in the magazine brings with it a stigma. I mean, there are people who won't buy it because they're like, there's naked people in there, and people are going to think I'm a pervert if I whatever. And they've always, I don't know if it's true or not, but they've always had this reputation for having really good writing. So they've basically remade themselves as Maxim, in my view.
Yeah.
It's,
And Maxim does really well.
yeah.
But somehow. I don't know how magazines do well, but
I know.
Right.
Who
They do
buys
somehow.
magazines?
So they've made themselves Maxim with good writing because I've read Maxim. It is not.
I've never read Maxim.
Yeah.
I've read Forum. That is also not. Oh, Maxim Forum, right?
I don't know.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
I don't
Me
know what
neither.
forum is.
Oh.
I mean, I know what Maxim is. I don't know what Forum is.
Yeah, no, Forum's another.
I know Hustler. I've heard of that one. But once again, I've never needed to buy that because by the time I got old enough to actually be able to get my own magazine subscriptions without like needing my mom's credit card, the internet was a thing. Thus, I could look at all the porn I wanted.
Tech Rock in the chat room was noting that Jacqueline Glenn did a Playboy shoot recently.
Who's that and why do we care?
Jacqueline Glenn, she's the YouTuber who plagiarized everyone.
Oh, okay.
But it was
Okay, yeah. Okay, right, cool.
It was non-nude. It was in their new whatever.
Oh, new format.
Yeah. Did anyone see those pictures? Because I did.
No.
No.
I saw them. There was like one picture where I was like, yeah, that's freaking sexy. The rest of it I was like, it's okay. And I don't know.
Once
Not that
again,
it-
if I
not
want to
that it
look at
matters.
porn, I'm not going to Playboy.
Well, that's
So
what I'm saying.
that's-
That's what I'm saying. I saw it on the internet, so I didn't like. I'm not buying anything to see Jacqueline Glenn in lingerie and heels. That's what the internet is for.
It's like if I'm looking for like hot, sexy ladies, like I don't need articles or things for that. I just go to
I need quick loading times.
Tube Galore or whatever, and then
I just feel like I mean that. I guess what you were saying earlier about Playboy being for I want to see famous people I know without their clothes on. And that's kind of what it is. It's like, oh, Jacqueline Glenn. I kind of want to check that out. I mean, that's what I did.
Sure.
So
And they're
I'm just sad that there's one less place with naked people.
but it's been dwarfed by this thing that we call the internet, which is for
there's
porn.
like
But I feel the principle should be there because in Europe in their magazines in their newspapers they have topless women.
but it's like
And I'm like, I kind of want to start moving toward that,
It's
not
like in the-
away from it.
yeah.
in the scope of infinity, like one magazine doing away with nudies really isn't.
But in the scope of infinity, this is the magazine, though. It's Playboy. It's
Yeah,
a
it's
legacy.
Playboy.
It's not.
But I can't even remember the last time I walked into a gas station. It used to be everywhere you go, they'd have the magazines that were all covered up, And
Right.
I don't see
right.
that anymore.
You could just see it
It's
was
gone.
like paper except
It's
for the
over.
girl's head
Yeah,
from there.
exactly. Yeah. It's like, oh, she's cute.
Like
I wanna
she's got to
see-
have a pretty face. She can't have a butter face or you ain't buying this fucking magazine.
now it's all about men's health. Oh, that's where the shit's at right there.
It is.
And you know what? If they're going to be covering up the front of magazines for people with their shirts off, those men's health magazines, man.
Those guys are fucking ripped.
Not that I want them covering the front up, but still, I'm just saying. Why do they get to be on the cover of magazines all ripped with their shirt off?
With oil all over their bodies.
Do you think that this will create a void of a market for somebody else to step up and say, "We'll pay you $1 million to do"?
Well, I mean, Hustler's still there, right?
Right, but they never did like the Playboy thing, paying
I have no idea.
celebrities. I'm not aware of any that they did. They may have had some celebrities.
They always were making offers to people who were in the news.
Sure.
I don't know. I can't remember anyone who actually took advantage of that offer.
But Larry Flint would offer money to like really terrible people who were like on trial for things. So let's. Yeah. So I wonder if it'll.
Larry Flint, a hero of free speech.
For shame, sir. For shame.
So you've seen the movie as well.
All right. Let's talk briefly about Thanksgiving because that's in 2 days. And that routinely comes with family visits. So I do a passive aggressive thing where I have family in San Antonio, like everyone but my mom lives there now, which is weird. But I don't like my brother-in-law. Like when I say I don't like him, I mean like I would set him on fire and laugh about it. And so like we don't go up there anymore because then we'd have to interact with that atheist hating asshat. So what I do is I invite my dad to come down here, and then and everyone's very disappointed.
Oh, that's one that he was like beating his kids or whatever too. Like,
yeah. Well, he was saying that he wanted to, and that it was awful that I didn't spank my children, and it was really weird because he got and he like threw a cigarette at me because he was very, very angry that I wasn't teaching my kids to be atheists. He's this Christian supremacist motherfucker, and he was like, well, if you really believe this stuff, why wouldn't you teach it to your kids?
I knew that's what you were going to say. I knew it was going to be some redneck bullshit. Well, if those are your fucking convictions, then don't be a pussy about it.
It's
bullshit.
Yep.
Even if I don't agree with it, you should be a man about it.
Right.
I fucking hate people like that.
He hates atheism, and he was super mad that I was not teaching my kids to be atheists. I was like, what? And it was so funny because, we were talking about spanking kids or whatever, and we were talking about whatever, and he got so mad at one point that he threw his cigarette at me, hit me in the face, and got up, almost threw the table over, and then like walked out. And the guy at the table next to me was like, dude, I had your back. I've been listening to this asshole all night. And like if he did anything, I was going to fucking jump the hell out of him. So this is my brother-in-law. I'm having my dad come down. My dad has always been a deist. He's never been like this super religious guy. He's always been God created everything, but then he fucked off. And as he's getting closer to death, I think he's getting more and more religious, and to the point where he's like trying to talk to my kids about it and whatever. Well, this week he was calling me to tell me, oh, this is when I'm coming down. This is when I'll be here.
We're going to go to church. We're going to do that.
Right. And all the Jesus stuff started, and the New Testament is so wonderful, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm talking, and I was just like, no, it's not. And, there's a lot of bad stuff. He said, I made some quote of the Bible, and he was like, oh, that's a really good one. I was like, it's one of the rare good ones. And he's like, well, you're just talking about the Old Testament. Like, no, but you can't get
Everyone knows that Jesus came and said, I am not here to denounce what happened then. I am here to uphold those things, and here's some more shit.
Right.
Because the New Testament didn't exist when Jesus ostensibly existed. He taught from the Torah because he is Jewish. Thus, what kind of lessons do you think he was teaching? From the Torah, the Old Testament.
No, Jesus was teaching from the New Testament because he's in the New Testament, and the Old Testament is for the damn Jews.
To be fair,
he was the king of the goddamn Jews.
To be fair, he's Jesus, so he probably knew the future.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Oh, yeah. And well, okay. So a couple of things. First of all, there are horrific things in the New Testament. Hell was invented in the New Testament. Mm-hmm. There are, I don't know why every frickin' Christian decides to use Leviticus to justify their hatred of gay people when you can just use the New Testament.
Paul talks about it in Romans.
Yes. Thank you.
Leviticus is awful. Apparently, it's some sort of sin to have unkept hair, and I'm like, oh fuck.
Seriously, when you die and you find out that God is a real thing, I mean, you're never going to get past the you didn't brush your hair.
There is no fucking way I'm going to get from earth to heaven without my shit just thrown out and frizzen all over the place.
And God's sitting there with his Fabio hair. It's like,
right?
Why isn't everybody like this?
I'm just going to have like my curly, like double aught steel wool rat's nest on top of my head. I'm going to be like, oh, you did everything else right, but you need to run a brush through that shit.
Because you obviously died running as someone was trying to stab you with a knife. So.
Right, because I'm an asshole.
So the other thing that I was trying to make him understand, he's not going to, and he's like, this is like the opening salvo. It's going to come back when he comes down here. It's going to be a topic of conversation. He's probably going to try and proselytize my kids, and it's going to be awful. But he was saying, oh, the Old Testament is blah, blah, blah. The story of Jesus makes no sense if you jettison the Old Testament. The only reason Jesus' story makes sense is because of original sin and all the other crap that everyone did. That's the only reason why sacrificing yourself to yourself makes any sense.
Sort of.
At all. And only sort of. So if you get rid of the Old Testament, the rest of it makes no sense whatsoever. The other thing is that if you accept Jesus, you have to accept the Old Testament. If you accept the Old Testament and you accept that Jesus is God, then you also have to accept that all the bloody, horrible, violent, disgusting things that God did in the Old Testament, that was Jesus. Jesus did those things, cutting...
No.
Oh, yeah?
No.
No?
Compartmentalizing.
Yeah, that's the only way you can do it.
You don't have to do it because it is imagination. So no, you don't have to do anything when there's not real world consequences for those things. That is what's so awesome about it, is you can just make shit up on the fly and be like this thing, but not that thing.
Yep.
Slightly off topic, but you talked about original sin. I love getting professed Christians to denounce the reality of original sin, how the origin story doesn't really make any sense, and that probably didn't happen. And I'm like, then everything else, every single letter after that,
Invalid.
makes no sense. Why would that happen?
Yeah, it's all connected. And if you and they really want to divorce themselves from I would want to divorce myself from that thing. Like if that was my thing, I'd be like, no, the cutting babies out of women's, no.
So you're gonna have what, like your brother-in-law and your father? We're gonna like double team you now, or?
I do so.
No, that's not okay in Leviticus.
No, my brother-in-law is not welcome in my home, and I won't go to his. I had to see him a month or two ago at my father's retirement party, and literally said nothing to him. Like I'm greeting everyone around him, and like,
right, and you're like,
yeah, exactly.
He totally has the hair to do that too.
Right? So it's better that way for everyone involved if we just don't speak, because then no one's throwing cigarettes or whatever. Does anyone else have problems with family being religious?
Well, not so much the religious stuff, because my brother just graduated from the Corrections Officer Academy. Actually, he graduates tomorrow. I'm going to his graduation. And so I know before I go home for Thanksgiving, because we do our Thanksgiving on like Saturday and Sunday, I know I'm going to have to start brushing up on my Black Lives Matter stuff. I'm going to have to start brushing up on prison statistics and all kinds of other stuff. So, the first thing he's going to start talking about is how all these black people are in jail and they commit more crimes than everyone else, and they're just more violent than white people and all this other crap. And Black Lives Matter is anti-police, and I know I'm going to have to.
You're making me mad just talking about you having to deal with that tomorrow. I'm like, do you need a date to your thing? Like, we can go together and just crush the fuck out of everybody.
I'm sure my mom would appreciate that, because she's always been getting on to me about like, oh, when are you gonna have grandkids? It's like, no, Mom, it's not happening.
Okay, it wouldn't really be a date. Just
no, but my mom would view it that way. She's like, you're not gay? Wow.
Or you could bring Ryan and you guys could crush
No,
the shit
because
out
Ryan's
of
already
it.
racist enough. It'll just reinforce everything. It'll be bad.
Wow.
I'm not.
I have to say, like, our chat room is pretty almost unanimous in, oh no, my family's all really cool, but fuck you. Tech Rock in the chat room is my boy. I assume it's a boy. I don't know.
Is your person?
I'd have to pick him up and turn him over and check. But
Is that what makes someone a boy?
Well,
Yes.
it's a rock,
Yes.
so you can.
you can, yeah. This person says, I just wish I could be around my family without God being mentioned every hour, right? And then he was like, I can't find any of this shit. That is one of the worst things, because like I don't go to my family functions and talk about atheism. I don't talk about how, oh, isn't God so stupid? And I don't know, is that a false equivalency? Is me talking about atheism and them talking about Jesus? I mean...
Well, I mean, they're probably more on the... because so they know you're an atheist, so they want to bring it up. So like...
Yeah.
So have you thought about your afterlife at all? You know?
Well, and I do feel like some of it is that. Some of it is just reflexive. It's just what they do. But some of it is, oh, here's the atheist member of the family. I'm going to talk about Jesus now.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this is relevant to your interests. Let me tell you about Jesus.
Well, if it makes you guys feel any better, I had one relative in Texas for this holiday, this Thanksgiving holiday, and she flew like 2,000 miles away for the holiday. So
To get away from you?
yeah, to get away from me. That's my contention. She's like, there's a holiday coming up.
And she didn't take me with her?
Right. And she's like, I don't want to spend this with Ryan. I'm going to, I'm leaving the state.
Right? You're that racist family member. She wants to get away from.
Yeah. Fuck you, right?
Just the one, right?
Oh, continue. I
I
interrupted
didn't.
you.
I
I'm sorry.
really didn't have any more.
Tech Rock is a man.
Okay.
You didn't
There you go.
completely fuck this one off, Ferris. You had a 50-50.
I felt like context clues told me that, but then I was like, oh, am I making assumptions that I shouldn't be making?
I did have someone ask me the other day. They were like, well, if you're an atheist, what do you do for Christmas? And I went, I like presents too.
I had a coworker. Today ask me about it because you know the guy that comes up to me at Art Walk.
Yeah.
So he was just like, you know, I want to ask you a question. I was like, oh, cool. What do you guys? Because I thought it was gonna be like work related because we were talking about like databases and stuff. And he was like, so like, do you and like your group, do y'all like celebrate Christmas? I was like, yeah. I mean, obviously the religious components we don't really do too much of that, but I mean.
Fuck yeah, whiskey and eggnog and presents.
So
Yes.
your presents and the decorations. I mean, it's fun. It's cultural. Everyone likes doing that. I mean, some parents may leave out the Santa Claus myth for various epistemological reasons. But what?
I'm going through that with my ex-husband right now. He was like, what are you going to do if they ask you if Santa Claus is real? I was like, I'm going to tell them that he's not. And he was like, my 9-year-old, he was like, I would like him to hold on to that for another year or two. I'm like, till
At
10
9?
or 11?
I think I stopped believing like
like-
at 6.
Yeah.
I was like,
Totally.
look, he's going to start hanging out with friends without supervision around that age, and I would like him to be firmly grounded.
I would just think public school, like
in-
someone there would
Right.
be.
No,
be like,
no, no,
you
no,
believe
no.
in Santa Claus? You're a dummy. Oh, make fun of him. Laugh at point. Laugh at point.
They have Santa pictures at his school every year.
Well,
So
yeah, but
no, they're
they have
like
snowman
they're
pictures too, but no one thinks
instilling
snowmen exist.
that. This is Texas, Reb, don't they?
They probably do actually.
And it's South Texas, so there's no proof they don't exist.
right? Have you ever not seen a snowman?
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, so yeah, he came up to me. He seemed very surprised. So I was like, "Oh well, there you go. Yeah, we do Thanksgiving too. I mean, who doesn't like giving thanks for
Tell him about
turkey?
Festivus? Did you tell him about
Oh no, I
Festivus?
didn't tell him about Festivus.
Oh,
Well, it's one of those deals. It's like a coworker.
Dude.
I don't want to go like crazy and say like, yeah, like we hate. We're gonna do a whole anti-Christmas thing or something. You know what I mean?
tell them about like Friendsgiving and Festivus, and I don't know. What do we do on Easter? Do we just like set people on fire or eat babies? Or
I think mostly homeless giveaways.
okay, there you go.
So yeah, I didn't want to get too much of it. Plus, we're like trying to get work done. And just like, because at the end of the day, I was like, okay, like you want to know about Christmas right now? We're talking about like work stuff. Okay, so we do this. But yeah, so it was very interesting. It's weird that we would both have that same situation.
It's weird for me at work because there are people who know I'm an atheist at work, and they clearly tell other people. They clearly talk behind my back about it because
That's the one.
Right?
the
There he is.
the other day I was at the copier and I was trying to get it to work, and I was very frustrated with it, and I was just like, "Oh, Jesus Christ!" It's like, "Are you talking to God right now?" And I was like, "No, I usually don't do that, but I just, I thought maybe it would help." Make
It's a
this machine
reaction
work.
for me to say bless you, and I'm not gonna lie. Like, I've been in intimate situations and someone said, "Oh my God," and I'm like, haha, made you pray. It's like made you look.
Yeah, and we should end on this point, or whatever reactions you have to this. But I really feel like those kinds of things, like "Oh my God, bless you" or whatever, are really ways of diluting the religious messaging behind those things. That the more we can just use them in a secular sense, the better it is, because it's just like, oh, whatever.
Well, they diluted the religious message of Christmas with Santa Claus.
There you go.
Yeah. So I guess I must have been doing this all wrong because I have trained myself from saying things like, oh my God, and I say things like, oh, your God. And I do not say bless you when somebody sneezes. I say there she blows. Or
Speaking of
Gesundheit.
porn.
Yeah. So apparently I'm doing it wrong.
No, I don't think so. Because there are things that I've trained myself not to do. Like I do not say bless you typically. I will say science or
I say it
go to hell.
I say it condescendingly.
Yeah, I like to say it ironically, like to you guys.
Right.
Well, like, the people at work that know that I'm atheist or whatever, like, I'll make a point, like, God bless you.
Normally, I just ignore people when they sneeze because it's not really
Yeah.
my problem.
I agree with
Like,
that.
Do you
I that
really
too.
yell out science?
Sometimes, yeah. But I mean, I will say, like at work and whatever, I usually just ignore it. I'm
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah, I'm like, I
And-
don't know why it's polite for me to like. I don't say anything when someone farts. I don't
do.
walk back past a bathroom that smells really bad and yell something about them shitting. Like that's a natural bodily function too. I don't have to acknowledge everybody's natural bodily functions. I don't see why.
Do they not have, like, good ventilation in your restroom? Or?
all right. Last thing for the post show. Tech Rock in the chat room says that he hated Easter not because of Jesus, but because of jelly beans. Yes, I hated jelly beans when I was a kid. I still hate jelly beans.
Fucking jelly beans suck, and the
They're
licorice
worse.
ones are the worst,
Yes!
dude.
That's it.
Yes,
Fuck
fuck licorice
jelly
flavored jelly beans.
beans.
Yes.
It's like an adult came up with that shit. Like they shouldn't be inventing candy.
And that's our post show. We'll see you guys next week, 7:30 Central on Tuesday.